Good afternoon, hobby friends. Your old pal Bo here, the only man on YouTube with a face for radio and a voice for print. Coming at you again with another one of my takes. Sitting here working on the old hobby table. Show you a little bit. Working on some, still working on the sisters. Oof. That's what Brian from Weird World War II would call stuff on my table. But I want to come at you again and talk about something that's been on my mind again lately, and that's the notion that the DM, GM, referee, whatever you call the person that runs the game, is just another player at the table. And I want to dispel that notion right up once and for all. The game master is not another player at the table, for all that implies. Number one, it implies a kind of equality or equal buy in at the table. And it also implies that the player's opinions are as important as the DM, GM, or referee. That just ain't so. The DM is the person that runs the game, thinks up the game, referees the game, and makes the game go. So that no matter what happens, the GM is not just another player. Again, because number one, it implies equal buy in, which just isn't so, just in terms of prep work, uh, the amount of time that the DM puts into creating the universe, um, finding motive for the bad guy and for the adventure, and setting the hooks and trying to create some kind of plot devices that keep things going. And as I sit and prep for my own Friday night game, um, I think and wonder how much time players put in compared to how much time the GM puts in, and I'm sure it's staggering. Think about how many hours you put in as GM or game master, and I'm not talking about people that just buy a module and read through it once and uh, maybe buy and paint a mini to match and put it on the table and say, okay, let's run adventure. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those old school game masters that are almost deists in their pursuit of creativity and completionism. The DMs that create, they don't create a village or use a module that has a village and a shopkeeper and a few NPCs and a mayor. I'm talking about the game masters that sit and create, and a whole universe springs from their minds. Things from pantheons of deities to uh, whole nation states to worlds and galaxies and empires. I think it's insulting to call you people, for whom I have the greatest respect, just players. And again, it implies some kind of equality at the tabletop, as if uh, a role playing game is a democracy, as if five players could vote and tell the GM what to do. And that just isn't so. Five players don't get to tell the GM what to do. Now, remember the first rule of hobbying. The first rule of hobbying is have fun. But the second rule of hobbying is your hobby, your way. And if you're the GM, you're having fun when it's the kind of game that you want to play, right? It's your world, it's your effort, it's your preparation, it's your love child. And ideally, an adventuring campaign becomes a living, breathing entity of its own. Again, like a deist analogy, compare your world, your campaign to a clock. You place all the cogs in the proper order and you wind it up and you set it on the mantelpiece and it runs. Ideally, a campaign is like a clock. You set the cogs in motion, you set the NPC's motivations, you set the factions in motion, and no matter what the players do, it's within the clock. You don't have to direct them or railroad them or tell them what to do or beg them or coerce them, because if they go explore this region of the clock, then this other region of the clock is still running in its normal fashion, in its normal manner, and those things will happen independently of the players. And that's the kind of campaign that, that I want to run, and that's why I consider it a pretty gross insult to say that the GM is just another player, because of that independence of action and independence of thought that a game universe takes. So maybe I'm overthinking it, maybe I'm not, but if you're a GM, if you are running a game, if you have a lot of experience, and probably most of my viewers have more experience than I do, feel free to weigh in on this delicate subject. I think it's one of those new school notions of role playing games with which I do not agree. But if you have an argument, if you can persuade me, um, feel free to point me in that direction. If you have a link to a video or an essay, please let me know. I don't think that YouTube will let you post links in the comments, but certainly an author or some kind of descriptors that could help point me in that direction. Because from what I've read and what I see, I don't get it. Let me know in the comments below, or not. It's a free country, and you can make your own decisions. Peace.